So you're thinking about moving to Indianapolis, but then you discover Carmel, Indiana and Fishers, Indiana, and now you're on the fence between the two cities. They both seem great, but what are their differences? Well, today we're going to go ahead and talk about their differences and which one might be best for you. So stick around because you don't want to miss it. Welcome to the Discovering Central Indiana YouTube channel. I'm Eric with the Pels Realty Group, and if this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about Central Indiana and the Central Indiana market, go ahead and subscribe below. My business partner Julie and I, we calls and texts every single day for people just like you who are looking to make the move to Central Indiana. So whether that's in 9 days or 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom call. Fishers, Indiana and Carmel, Indiana are two of the most popular suburbs here in Indiana and in Central Indiana. Carmel has been ranked as the best suburb in the U.S. for its strong economy, low unemployment rate, and health and safety. Then you have Fishers. Fishers is also ranked one of the best, most affordable small cities in the U.S. So how do they compare? Because they can seem very similar to each other, but they do have a lot of differences too. So let's go ahead and start with their downtown areas. So Fishers doesn't have an official downtown area. Their downtown area is going to be the Nickel Plate District, where you do have an official downtown with Carmel. Carmel's downtown is very expansive and it's very walkable. It's modeled after a lot of different European cities, so you can park your car in a parking garage and then you can walk to the various shops that you want to go to. They have different events throughout the year, just a lot of things that you can do, whereas with the Fishers downtown, it's definitely smaller. So it's going to be the Nickel Plate District. It's very walkable too. Think of it as like kind of a circle, a big circle that you can walk around with an amphitheater right in the center of it, where you have their farmers market in the summer, different kids events during the summer as well. The biggest difference between the two is basically how they're planned. Carmel took a ton of time to plan out their city, their downtown area, and they've done a very good job. Where then Fishers started planning theirs and was basically trying to catch up. Fishers is still a great downtown area, but it doesn't compare when it comes to Carmel, just with the walkability, amenities and things to do. Because with Fishers, so you have the Nickel Plate District, but then a couple miles east, you have to get in your car and drive to the Fishers District, where they have a bunch of other amenities, mainly restaurants, but you can't walk there. Whereas Carmel, you have a bunch of different districts that are very walkable, and where you can just walk on the Monon to get there. So you got the Arts and Design District, you have the City Center, and you have Midtown Plaza. All you got to do is just get on the Monon to get to those places. You don't have to drive. That's the biggest thing. They've done a very good job with designing that. And the nice thing is with Carmel's downtown area is the Monon runs straight through it. So you don't have that in the Fishers area, like in the Fishers downtown area. You still have the Monon that runs through Fishers, but not through their downtown area. They have something else called the Nickel Plate Trail, which is also a very popular trail, and that's named after the Nickel Plate Express. The second difference is going to be traffic. Now, both places, they can get congested during rush hour, but the biggest difference is with Carmel, you have a ton of roundabouts, not as many lights. Now, people have a love-hate relationship with roundabouts. I think they're great, but then at the same time, you have people who don't know how to drive in them. So that's definitely an issue there, but not as many lights as Fishers. Whereas Fishers, it can get very, very congested, especially off of the Fishers part of 116th Street, because 116th runs through Carmel and Fishers. Now, granted, that road in general in both Carmel and Fishers does get congested, but it's way worse with Fishers. Traffic doesn't flow as smoothly in Fishers as it does in Carmel. One of the biggest congestion points in Fishers is going to be right by the Nickel Plate District, basically between the Nickel Plate District and the Fishers District, because you have I-69 that runs right through there. You have a ton of lights. So you got people getting on 69, getting off 69. You have 3 to 4 lights right there. So it can get very, very congested in downtown Fishers and right there at 69, just because you have so many people trying to get home from work or trying to get to work. And then you have people running errands too, because as soon as you get past Allisonville, you're on the east side of Allisonville, you're going to get tons and tons of traffic lights. So lots of stop and go traffic there in Fishers. Whereas with Carmel, it's a ton of roundabouts. Now, it still can get congested, especially off of Range Line Road, since Range Line is the major thoroughfare that runs through their downtown area. It can still get congested, but they have done a good job of eliminating lights and having tons of different roundabouts. The biggest thing is just making sure that you don't get creamed in the roundabout, because sometimes it can be the Wild West. People don't know how to drive in roundabouts, like I said earlier. So overall, I would say traffic is worse in Fishers, which is a little surprising just because Carmel, so many people come to Carmel from different areas in Indianapolis and central Indiana, but Fishers is worse just because of how they planned out their infrastructure and their roads. And it's a little shocking because Fishers actually has more people than Carmel. Like I said earlier, Carmel really took the time to plan out their infrastructure and how their roads were going to be and how they looked like, whereas Fishers, they just put a whole bunch of traffic lights in place. Carmel took the time to put in tons and tons of roundabouts, and Carmel likes roundabouts. It is the roundabout capital of the world. The former Carmel mayor, Brainerd, he went to different European cities and he saw all these roundabouts and he saw the flow of traffic, and so he basically brought that to Carmel. And so you have just tons of different roundabouts. It definitely helps the flow of traffic. The third difference between Carmel and Fishers is going to be with home prices. Now, like I said earlier, Fishers is one of the best cities in the U.S. in terms of home affordability. Everyone has a different opinion about what's affordable, but in terms of the entire U.S., that the article from NerdWallet was taking it from, there is more affordability in Fishers than Carmel. When it comes to median price in Fishers, you're going to look at $479,900 for the median price for home in Fishers. Now, when it comes to Carmel's median price, you're looking at $534,995 as their median price. So, as you can see, Fishers is 10% cheaper than Carmel is. When it comes to median price, here is a big disclaimer. Median price changes every month. So, and it's based off of what previous month the homes, how many homes have sold and how many homes didn't sell. So previously for December, the median price was over $600,000. Well, now it's gone down drastically, but of course with December, there aren't as many real estate transactions that happen because you've got the holidays. A lot of people don't want to be buying a house in December, even though technically it's a great time to do it because of the competition. You don't have that much, but at the same time, median price changes. So in this video, Carmel's median price is lower. In another video in a month or so, the median price can be higher. And when we get more into peak season like spring and summer, median price always goes up, especially for highly desirable areas like Carmel and Fishers. And when we talk about home prices, another big factor is going to be growth and new construction. So the fourth thing is going to be growth and new construction. Like I said, Carmel's taken a lot of time to plan out their downtown and just Carmel in general. But the thing is, they're boxed in. They don't have anywhere to go. They have a bunch of different cities surrounding them, like Fishers, Westfield, Noblesville, Zionsville, and Indianapolis on the south side. So you don't really have, they don't have anywhere to go really. So what they resort to doing is revitalizing certain areas where they've taken old structures and old buildings, tearing them down, and then basically building something bigger and better, like parking garages and mixed-use spaces where you have shops on the first floor and then you have apartments on the other levels as well. So that's something that they've really done a good job with. When it comes to Fishers and expanding, Fishers has more room to breathe and more room to expand. When it comes to their expanding, they are moving farther out to the east. So East Fishers is where a lot of new construction is happening, especially new construction with new homes, new communities, whereas Carmel, there is some new construction, but it's few and far between. Basically, Carmel is trying to find any little bit of land that they can and put something there, whether it's new housing development or a mixed-use space, whereas Fishers, they have that land to expand. Not a ton of expansion, but they still have more room to expand, especially on the east side. Another nice thing with Fishers is how close it is to other venues like Hamilton Town Center. So Hamilton Town Center is technically in Noblesville, but it is right on the Noblesville and Fishers borders. So you're very close to that in Fishers, where it is in Carmel, not so much. You also are closer to Ruoff. Now that is in Noblesville as well, but for Fishers residents, it's a lot easier to get there, not as much time. Whereas with Carmel, you don't have that. You don't necessarily have a place like Hamilton Town Center. You don't have a place like Ruoff Music Center, where bands from all over the world will come in and play at this place. Carmel doesn't have that. The fifth and final difference between Carmel and Fishers are going to be their schools. Now, both have highly rated schools that have really great reputations, so that's a really good thing, especially for families that are looking to move to these areas. And even if you don't have kids, it's a big selling point if you're going to sell, because everyone wants to be in an area with a really good school district, so that absolutely helps your sellability. For Carmel High School, it's going to be the Carmel Clay School District, and it's a massive, massive high school. It is the biggest one in the state with over 1 million square feet, and it's consistently ranked 6th in the state. On average, you have around 5,000 students per year that go through Carmel High School. And just the sheer size of Carmel High School is very, very impressive. They have different amenities that they can offer their students. They have recording studios, they have great sports programs, they got shop and woodworking programs for students who wanted to work with their hands. So they have a lot to offer their students in Carmel. And so again, with Carmel, every high school age student is going to go to Carmel High School. And when it comes to the population of Carmel, Indiana, it's just over 103,000 people, whereas Fishers is technically bigger. It's 105,000 people. Granted, not a ton in terms of difference, 2,000 people. Not that much. For the Fishers School District, that's going to be the Hamilton Southeastern. And unlike Carmel, the Fishers High Schools are broken into two different schools, Fishers High School and the Hamilton Southeastern High School. The Fishers School District in general is ranked 11th in the state, so still pretty good. And for the amount of kids that go to both high schools, it's around 3,500-ish per school, give or take, and it just depends on the year as well. In general, both school systems are great, and a lot of people like them. That's why they want to be in Fishers and Carmel. That was my comparison of Fishers, Indiana and Carmel, Indiana. They have some similarities, but also some differences as well. And one thing that we always tell our clients is, if you're interested in these areas, go drive through them, see which one fits your personality better and have the amenities that you want. That's the best thing that you can do. Remember, if you're looking to move in 9 days or 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom call.